My name is Sid Elinik. This is Marcus for the Beats, and we got a special guest tonight, Walt from Denver Terrors.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
If you're not of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, you're not welcome here.
In the middle of the night, ghosts tried to talk to me.
It's interdimensional, so we are living in a multi-dimensional environment.
He's bending down, doing something. He says he sees a shadow. He turns around and there's nobody there.
The power of Christ compels you.
I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died.
I went blind. Then I had an hemorrhage, and I fell asleep, and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs.
How can we kill you, Bill?
By God.
DenverTerrors.com.
Awesome. And you guys are under U.S. Ghost Adventures, right? Your umbrella?
Correct. So U.S. Ghost Adventures they are nationwide, and they're going into a lot of the cities and buying up some of the more local groups and adding them into their umbrella organization. And we do ghost tours all over the country. So they're here and in Puerto Rico. They're looking to go to Hawaii, and they're looking to go to Alaska.
Oh, nice.
Wow, really
and
expanding.
just to give our audience a little introduction to how we met, is we actually went to Denver, in the Colorado area, to go to a gem and mineral show. And one night we decided to book a ghost tour, and Walt popped up, and the website we went to, and we went there, and it was a really cool experience. The way you did your little tour and the way you were really knowledgeable about the locations was really awesome.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad.
And then we got to talking, and we were the only ones on the extended tour as well. And
that's correct. I remember.
And I was happy about that. So we were able to talk a little more between locations, and he gave us some cool ghost stories, and then we asked him if we could be on the podcast, and he obliged.
So here I am. Yes.
So let's get a little bit of a background on who you are and what you do and what got you started in ghost touring.
Well, I was in the military. I worked in the military for 10 years. Was then a defense contractor, and I used to do ghost tours up at the University of Colorado. That's where I went to school.
Oh, nice.
And I still do them. I worked there with the marching band as adjunct volunteer staff, student through to staff, 34 years. I hung everything up in 2018, work stress, bunch of things. I'm still working now. I've got 3 jobs. That keeps me busy. But I got interested because I think a lot about the doing ghost tours up at the University of Colorado. And there's some buildings that are very haunted up there. And then the students in the marching band asked me to do a lot of research and work, and I did that. So I was filmed by one of the news crews here, 9 News, and I used this. I was kind of on a bit of a downward spiral. I'd had 280 rejections, to try to get hired.
Wow.
So I decided I've got to do something to get out of the house. I'm tired of sitting here. So as a result, I went to work for King Supers. That kept me up and active. Thank God for that. And my ex-wife said, "Hey, this U.S. Ghost Adventures company, whatever it is, they're hiring in Denver. You should go apply because you love history and you love doing this stuff." I applied back in April of this year, and it took, I wasn't hired, and my first tour was on July 2nd. But in between that time, it would have been sooner, but my dad was in the last month and a half of his life. And so I had to spend a lot of time with him. And he died on June the 7th. And on June the, 7th, 8th, 9th, I submitted a video so that I would be hired. And they hired me 4 days later. And
wow.
My first tour was with another young gal by the name of Parker. That's the young lady who just quit. and a torrential downpour. So we literally did the whole tour, got to the end over there by the Capitol Hill bookstore, and then the rain just came down sideways. So we didn't go on the extended tour. And then the next week, exactly 1 week later, July the 2nd was my first night.
Wow.
Why am I interested? Well, I worked in a Denver hospital. It's now torn down, Old St. Joe's. I worked in surgery, and there were some very creepy things that happened back in surgery. I'd be the night orderly, person who had to set everything up. There were times when I was the only person there. I know I was the only person there. There was no emergency cases, no holdover cases, no open heart holdovers, anything like that. Go through, get the room set up, and just sounds and noises and doors that would open and close that could not be open and closed unless somebody else was there.
Right.
One night, I heard doors opening and closing. It was about 1:30 in the morning. Went back to go get, I went over to the cafeteria. I got some food, came back. We had two desks, a front reception desk and then the back main desk. So I was sitting at the back main desk, even talking about it now. I heard sounds coming up the line. And finally, as I've told others, I felt like something was watching me, like within about 6-7 feet away. And I'm just filling out strips, right, to say what our surgical cases were for the rooms and all that. And holy crap, a chill came over me. I picked up my tray. I didn't even look back. All I did was sidestep through the door up to the main reception, and I stayed in that room for 2.5 hours. I never came out. I don't care if I had to go to the bathroom. I just held it. I would walk or whatever. It was one of the creepiest experiences I've ever had.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And that's what propelled me. And then at CU, at CU Boulder, they have an auditorium, a concert hall named Mackey Auditorium, named after the Mackey family. Major contentious issue when the ground was first broke and given until they finally opened the facility. It was donated in 1908, opened in 1925. Court issues galore. And in 1966, so I was born in July of 66 on the 11th, so 7/11. And on 7/9 of 66, a Saturday, there was a murder at Mackey Auditorium. And so I've done a lot of research about it, and I can see the 3 young ladies and the 2 young guys that were in the marching band, and they piqued my interest because I love the history of CU, and it took off from there. And so here I am on your podcast, boring the hell out of you.
let me make his screen a little bigger.
Okay.
There we go.
That looks
I
good.
can see you clearly. So you told us some. Well, actually, before we do that, I forgot to mention our #1 Patreon, which I've done. That's like all of our episodes so far. We haven't mentioned her yet. So shout out to Taisha Olette thank you so much for sponsoring the podcast. And yeah, #1 Patreon. But you told me a story, and I don't remember how it went, but I think it was one of those nights when you were in the ER. Do you remember that story?
Oh yeah, there's a couple of them. So one of the was in the OR, and I wasn't the only one to ever experience this, but I'm myself and one other orderly. I'm not gifted in that way. I mean, I can sense when something's around, but boy, she was. And so it was the 2 of us, and we compared a story. As the night orderly, you have to start in the rooms, and you have to set them up after they're deep cleaned, and then you run them back. And I usually start in room 1 because room 1s through 8 are general surgery rooms. So I get those cleaned and done, come through the backside of it. It's a great big U. So 1 through 8, 9 is here in the middle, then 10 up through 17, and then 18, 19, and 20 are over here. So it's a quiet night, literally, and we don't have much, if anything, going on. So I got through the rooms very fast. which is a godsend for a change, right? Because then you can kind of relax and catch up on a few other things. So in each room when I finish, I turn on one X-ray box. That way I have a little bit of light so that I don't take my shins out. Because there's stuff in some of the big open heart rooms that were just a lot of equipment. So I'm doing my rounds, and I turned on the X-ray box, and I believe it was room 12. And if it wasn't 12, then it would have been room 14, and it was one of those two. It's far enough back. This happened in about 1994. So I did my first set of rounds, checking on some stuff, went off, did some other stuff. I came back an hour and a half later. Nobody's in surgery except me. I know I'm the only person there. There's no residents. We were a teaching hospital. No residents came down to do any work or to putz around or to work on stuff, which is a shame. A couple of them are pretty cute. But I went back through, and I'm going through the heart section, and the X-ray box was off. I'm like, that's kind of odd. I'm the only person here, and I wouldn't have come through. So I flicked it back on. I went back through doing more rounds. It's, on this job, you have to do rounds about every hour and a half. So an hour and a half, I did another round. The box was off again. And I'm like, okay, something's not right here. Huh. So I flicked two boxes on. I'm like, okay. And quietly, I'm thinking, take that, you bastard. Let's see if you mess with this. I was beginning to suspect something, that there might be. We knew that the surgical area was haunted, but we're like, okay, let's see if this will. So, okay, I went off, did more stuff, went and ate. The other adventure didn't happen. It was about 3-4 months later. So I'm coming back through, and I'm doing the adventures again. And I'm doing my rounds, and I'm looking at everything, making sure everything. I'm delivering surgical schedules, so that everybody is taken care of. They know what's happening. I walked back into one of the two rooms, and both X-ray box lights were off. I'm thinking, okay. So I stood there, I crossed my arms, and I said, listen here. Damn it. I need the X-ray lights on so I don't trip, fall, bruise, hurt myself, or kill myself in these cord-infested rooms. So leave the damn boxes on so I can see. And I said it just like that loud. And I flicked the boxes back on, both of them this time, and I went off and did my stuff. And then I came back. This had to have been about 4:30 in the morning when I did my final, about 5 in the morning, I did my final round. And I came back through, both of the lights were on.
Wow.
and I'm like, they listened. Shocked. But I wasn't the only one. Patty was the other orderly's name. I've lost touch with Patty, but I remember her. And Patty, we would be doing, we all had to take turns when we weren't on duty working. And I'm the only one that worked the midnight shift when our other orderly, Eloy, had to take vacation time. And he took a lot of vacation because he'd been at the hospital for like 25 years. So, he could go off, and he had lots of PTO time he had to burn. So I'm the only one. I was younger then, of course, than I am now. And I didn't mind it. It's time to do this stuff. But Patty was on we had also to pick up calls, right? Emergency cases, go in, work on them. So Patty came in on a call one night, and she told us the story the next day. She said, I went through one of those heart rooms. She said, I had to go over and get a specific item that was in one of the surgical room cabinets. And she said, I went in, lights were flickering, things were moving. And she said, just stop. I ain't got time for your shit. Leave me alone. I got an emergency. I'm going to run back out, in and out a couple times. Let me be. And it let her be. So we assumed that they were probably old patients of some sort or another, that had probably died on the table. We had several patients die on the table, of course, and that their spirits just didn't like being there for whatever reason. The hospital has since been torn down. It was torn down back in, I think it was 2000, I want to say 13, 14. And the new St. Joe's was literally, it was just like they took it and flipped it, right? The old one was there. They tore it down. It was a shame to see it go. It was a Denver iconic landmark. And then they built this new multi-thousand, hundreds of millions of dollars building, and it's just like one long big football field. So I'd like to go in now and find out if there's hauntings there as well. But I know the executive vice president, and I've never taken the chance to go say, "Hey, Barb, I come in to do a tour." But I have walked through some of the areas. But yeah, those are the two. And then I think the most frightening was before I came on the shift, there was another gal. I can see her and I can't think of her name, but I'll just call her Linda. She did the job before I did for Eloy. And she was setting up rooms. And in the back corner, over here by room 9, so 9, 10, and 11, there were windows that looked directly outside, and they were on the north side of the building. They looked up Lafayette Street. So there was a radio that sat here on a ledge because we could put stuff there. And this radio, at night, we turn on the radios, right, just to provide a little bit of music and to cut, any spooky sounds or anything. And so this radio was going. And Linda had come through, and she was in room 9 at the very bottom right here, room 9. And she moved over to 10 and then up to 11. And then by the time she made it up to 17, she said, "Well, that's odd. The radio stopped." And it wasn't super loud, but it was pretty good volume. And she went back to check it. And she said, "Well, must the plug came undone, I guess, or something." Well, there was no plug there. And then she said, "Well, okay, the batteries have died. We can go get some batteries. What are they?" She picked up the radio and she turned it around, and it was the back was off of it, and no batteries were inside it.
Wow.
So she freaked out. She's like, "How the hell did it play?"
That is a strange one.
Yeah, that is a strange one.
Yeah, I mean, it spooked her a lot. And we left the radio there for probably a good year in that spot. And it only did it one time for me. And it wasn't very loud. It was very subtle. And I just went, okay. Hello there. Nice of you to play some music, but I'm going to drown you out by playing some of the stereos in one of the other rooms. But yeah,
that's weird.
It was very freaky for sure.
Wow.
That would creep me out the second I open that up.
Oh, she said that her jaw dropped, right? And she's like, what the F? She's like, "There's no batteries, and I know I saw this and heard this playing." And she's like, and she would not do the late shift by herself after that. She never did it again.
Oh God, I don't blame her.
It's kind of funny though how spirits are able to manipulate technology. And we've dealt with this a lot too in the podcast, where we have some things happening. And there's one story we've been telling, and we were doing a podcast just like this one, but before we had all this like really cool equipment, is all we had to do the podcast on was computers, and that was like we used to hook up a mic to it. And at the time we had us two and our other co-host Aaron Baker, and we were getting ready to do one on Shadow People or something.
Yeah, I think it was Shadow People.
And we're going to talk about Shadow People that night. And you got to tell that story.
Oh my God. We were getting ready. I remember he went to the other room. He was doing something back there, but I remember Aaron was in the kitchen trying to get the computer to work, and for some reason nothing was working. He kept trying everything to get these mics and everything to work, and he was doing everything exactly how he always does it, and everything works. And for some reason it wouldn't go. Nothing would work. And then around that time we started hearing noises upstairs,
right,
too. And my brother, he works late, a lot of the time, and he was the only one living up there at the time, and there was nobody upstairs, and we were hearing people running, walking, footsteps. I think we heard a woman crying that night upstairs, right. And just all kinds of stuff started going on in this place, man.
Was that there at the house you're at right now?
Right, here, yeah,
right there. Oh, that's,
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the malfunctions on the laptops didn't just happen in one laptop. It was 3 of them. There was
separate laptops,
and it was all
at the same time within like 5-10 minutes or so.
It was going for. He was trying to get them going for about an hour.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then after all of this stuff happened, we were like, we're kind of creeped out for a bit, and we all went into the kitchen, and he kept doing the same thing over and over. I know exactly how you're supposed to get this set up. And then finally it came on and just started just got set up and everything was working fine. Yeah. And so we set the laptop up, and me and Aaron sat down, and he was getting a camera ready, and I started tapping the mic and talking and couldn't hear anything. I was like, what the hell is going on? We can't hear ourselves. I was talking to Aaron, and we could see the waves on the computer, everything was working fine. And probably about 30 seconds later, we hear the deepest freaking voice come on the headphones, and both of us at the same time threw our headphones off.
So what did the voice say?
Threw our headphones off, and I was like, what the hell was that? And I kind of look over at each other, and we're all creeped out, and I pick up the headphone and put my ear to it, and it, for some reason, it recorded our voices. It wasn't playing them back in real time. It was playing them back 30 seconds later, and for some reason really, really deep. So the voice we heard was our own, but it was like malfunctioning, right. And it like made us sound like the devil.
And I have that video clip of me capturing that happening on our Facebook page at Fallen Hour. Talking there.
Hello?
What the hell?
Oh my god.
Dude, that was I don't know where these headphones. I don't know what the headphones are.
Try it again.
Check.
All right.
Hello.
Is it doing it still?
No. It stopped, didn't it?
Yeah.
What the heck? That stopped recording, and it just hit play by itself.
It's still lagging.
It's lagging, but it's dude, I sound like the damn.
So I have.
Dude, it was so deep, dude.
I have that audio for the first few seconds of that crap, but I don't have the video.
This night is so freaking creepy. It's not even funny.
Holy!
We should have called it a night when that freaking glass fell out of that damn thing.
I know. Okay. And it was a weird night. And then just recently, Marcus had relived that experience in a weird way, and it was one of the creepiest things that happened. We always have stuff happening on the podcast, but that was like one of the ones that we actually captured. And Marcus, you were editing or something.
Yeah,
right?
I was editing. I think I was editing an episode we did with After Horizons, and I was editing probably one of the creepiest stories I've ever heard. And it's on that episode, and it's a friend of ours. His name's Aaron Martin, and he was telling this story about when he was going to sleep, and he always closes his doors, make sure every door is closed in the house because he can't sleep with the doors open. So he has it closed, and he rolls over, and his door's open. He's wondering, why the hell is my door open? And for some reason, he felt like he was paralyzed. He couldn't move. And he was staring at the door, and he saw something peek in his door around the door jamb and then crawl in his room. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and I was listening to this audio, editing it, and everybody in my house was asleep. I was the only one in my bedroom, and I had both my bedroom doors closed. And I was editing this audio, and I just started getting like a really creepy feeling, Yeah. And for some reason, my laptop, it's a pretty brand new laptop. It just decides to malfunction all of a sudden. It started glitching out around the corners. I watched it kind of go up around the corners, and then I heard this really deep voice on my headphones, and I took my headphones off, what the hell, what the hell was that? And I did the same thing. I put my ear to my headphone, and my computer decided to go into my files, pull out this video, and start playing this video by itself while I was editing, and it played the video he was talking about, that he was recording us going over this audio. And so I heard that same voice, and it creeped me out. And for some reason my computer completely froze up, and I turned my phone on and I started recording it, and all you can hear is my finger dragging back and forth on the mouse pad. Yeah. And you can hear my finger back and forth on the mouse pad. And there's a really creepy EVP that we have in our intro, and it's this really deep voice that it's like some EVP they caught of somebody saying, "I have the body of a pig," and he makes a pig grunting noise. And when they caught that audio, they caught an image of a pig-shaped entity. And for some reason, this thought popped in my head. I was like, why am I thinking of that? Maybe I'm trying to creep myself out, you know? Like, I started thinking of creepy things in the wrong moment. I was thinking maybe that was happening.
Yeah.
And I was recording at that time, and I remember I turned it off. I was like, man, why the hell? I was like, why am I creeping myself out, you know? I turned my audio up and listened to it, you know, just like, you know, hit play, and I was listening to my recording that I just took. And you can hear my finger running back and forth on the mouse pad. But in the background, you can hear what sounded like a pig grunting in my bedroom at 1:30 in the morning. Nobody awake, no TV's on.
No pig.
Nothing in there. And I was like, so freaking creeped out.
Yeah, he showed me
man.
that, and it gave me the chills. And it sounds like something's
wild.
It sounds like something's like growling. Like
yeah, it sounds like
snarl.
a grunting snarl in the background. It's like kind of light, and then you hear, you know, after maybe 3 seconds, you hear something else too. And I was the only one in my bedroom, and it was like, man, after that, I just shut my laptop, put it away. I walked around, you know, my house, making sure everything was, you know, okay. And everybody was sleeping. I was like, what? They sounded like it was right next to my bed. And it just, oh man, after that, man, it was just so freaking creepy.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that's amazing because I've had only one, like a paralyzed moment that I can remember and think of. But my grandparents, my mom's mom and dad, my mom's dad died in 88 or 89, and my grandmother died in 2002. So I lived with my parents for a little while to make sure they were both okay, financially sound, etc. So then this was right before I met my wife, girlfriend, then became wife. So I was laying on a bed in my old bedroom, and I was laying there, and I was on my side. Now, I don't remember. I think I was laying on my right side, and I was dead tired because I'd come off of a couple shifts at work, and we were just very tired, the entire team. So I made it home, crashed, took a bit of a nap, and the room didn't become cold. It's just like I felt somebody there. Now my eyes are closed and I'm asleep, and I feel a hand grab my left shoulder and like push me, like they wanted to push me onto my back, and I'm like, oh, leave me alone! Leave me alone! Stop! And then I opened up and went, what the hell just happened? Because like nobody else, they were all in the kitchen or downstairs, and it's like, what just happened? But I seriously felt a hand, and that hand was on my left shoulder and was trying to push me back, you know, go lay flat. So,
whoa, wow, that is strange.
I remember that, and that happened probably about 2010, I think, summer of 2010.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, it was just as clear as a bell to me. And I'm like, well, that's okay.
oh, man. Last time he grabbed that mummy, things started happening in this place. And, oh, my God. We were recording with we were on another person's show. It's he's from Oklahoma, and it's called the Okie Podcast. And we were talking about, you know, creepy stuff, and he brought this mummy out, and after he brought this mummy out, it started kind of like changed the whole vibe in this room. And I guess we couldn't see it because our screen was about that big on top of the computer, and we could just see our the person that was interviewing us. His screen took up the most of the screen, but he didn't say anything to us. But I guess our camera started shaking like crazy, like continuously, just shaking and shaking. and there was nobody awake but us two. We were actually sitting pretty far back, and nobody was walking around. He even said he was watching our legs, and our legs were still. And he said that camera was just shaking like crazy.
Yeah, we're quite a ways away from the camera too.
Yeah,
and I was watching back on that podcast, and we were making some like really big movements and like laughing and stuff, and like moving our legs and stuff, and the camera's not moving. But during that podcast, the camera just starts like vibrating almost.
Oh wow!
And then we started hearing noises here and there, and then we all three of us heard a voice on the headphones at the exact same time. We all looked at each other,
and we're like blaming each other. We're like, "That's on your side." He's like, "No, it's on your side."
And like right when that happened, the hairs on my arm started standing up on this side, going around. I felt like something was moving this way, and then my legs just started tingling really bad going down. It was like I felt like somebody was standing right behind me. Oh, and wow. It's just like got the ugliest feeling. We started hearing things on everywhere. Right. It's like, oh my god.
So I got this when I was down there in Colorado, and it was from an archaeologist, and this guy's a published author, and he had like a big stack of books that he wrote, and from like a long time ago, like the 60s, 70s. And this guy's an old dude. And I saw all these. I've been looking for Egyptian artifact for a long time.
Yeah.
And like I'm really into the Egyptian culture and Chinese culture and just like their antiquities. And I heard that you can get them, but it's kind of like a hit and miss. Like you got to find them, or they can be like fakes, whatever. And we went to that rock show, a massive rock show, and rock and mineral show. Walking around for hours, and finally came across this guy's table, and he had like a tiny section of Egyptian artifacts. Like he had pieces that were put in lapis, and that was like a big stone then, and he had a lot of these sitting there, and I bought the biggest one on the table. But yeah, he was an archaeologist. Well, he's an archaeologist, and he found these when he was down there in Egypt, and that's what it looks like.
Oh wow, very cool.
Yeah, you can see you can see some color on there. You can see there's like some writing on the
green and like hieroglyphic writing.
Yeah, there's hieroglyphics on it. You can see the staff and stuff, or his little.
Yeah, the arms are crossed.
And he has like the staffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it smells like a hint of oil.
Like there was like rubbed in oil.
Right. And nothing like I collect weird, crazy stuff all the time, and we're actually starting to start collecting haunted items and things. And when I got this, it's like there's nothing wrong with this. And
like he gave it to me like when he first showed it to me, and I told right when I was looking at it, I started getting a creepy feeling. I was like, no, there's something up with this dude. I was like, I don't like the way it feels here. And didn't you like do some stuff with this and something started going off?
Oh yeah, the other night we so the archaeologist that found it said he found it when he was up there and he was working, and I guess he was able to take some of these, but over 2,000 years old, this mummy. He doesn't know exactly who it belongs to, but I'm pretty sure that he said that the name is probably on it, and it would be placed inside of a tomb or inside of a burial site for either a pharaoh or someone in higher status. But ever since we had that experience on that last podcast, after we popped this out, it was like immediately when I popped it out. Me and my wife were sitting in our kitchen, and she didn't know I was going to do this, but she was sitting there and she was eating like strawberries or something.
Yeah.
And we just got this new equipment, paranormal investigating equipment, and so I turned on the spirit box, and it's like normal for me because like even when I'm editing the podcast, I'll have the spirit box going just in the background, and
just for the hell of it.
Right. And I turn it on, just like didn't think nothing of it. And I pop out the other stuff, and then I bring this mummy in there, and then I shut off everything in the house, just black out. And she just sitting there eating her strawberries, and then just blacks out in the house with no lights on. And then she said immediately she starts feeling the chills, and I'm standing over there by the kitchen, maybe like 5-6 feet from her. And I never get the chills. And as soon as she started getting the chills, I started like getting the chills, and my arms too. We had like goosebumps.
Wow.
And I was like, this never happens to me. And this spirit box has a thermometer on it. And as soon as we started getting the chills, it was starting to fluctuate to like the heat side. And I was like, that's so weird. And I also have an NEM master, and this is like picks up static electricity.
Yeah.
And while she was feeling those chills, I turn this thing on and I go and place it by her, and I don't touch it after that, and then it just starts going off. And the funny thing about this is, when I got this, I actually wrote
He thought it was
broken,
defective, because he thought it wasn't working.
And I didn't read the instruction or read what it was at first. Like, I'm kind of new to this kind of equipment, but I wrote them and I said, it's not working. It's like there's nothing happening with it. Like, I can touch it and there's nothing.
Well, that's the point.
Like, and they said, no, it's none of that. They said it's static electricity. So if you rub a paper bag next to it, it'll start going off. And I was like,
or a plastic bag.
Yeah.
And
I was like, and I was like, okay. So I did that, and I had my daughter come in here, and I was rubbing her hair, and this was sitting a ways away from it, and it started going off. So about a full day without no activity on this thing, and as soon as she starts getting the goosebumps, I set this by her, and it starts going off.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But yeah, that's the story of the mummy.
Did you guys start hearing the same voice talking on the spirit box?
Oh,
too?
right. That morning too. The reason I did that at that point was she works at a nursing home, and she came home for lunch, and I was home, and I had this thing out, the spirit box. It's a really big one too.
Yeah.
And SB11, and I had this out, and I was playing with it, and I turned it on, and she's sitting next to me on the couch, and we keep hearing this male voice coming through, and it's over and over again, and this thing sweeps pretty quickly too. And I have a Snapchat, actually, I recorded one of that night, as well as this guy comes through and he says, hey. And I was like, whoa, this is the same guy we're hearing this afternoon, but he didn't say, you couldn't really make out his words in the daytime. But later on the nighttime, you can hear his words clearly. And it was just a really strange thing. But the thing about that voice is the place that we live in right now has some dark history. There was a guy here that Marcus knew pretty well, and he kind of went off the deep end and doing some crazy stuff. He was like stuffing things in the ceilings, like Bible scriptures and just some weird stuff.
Some weird notes he wrote.
Right, weird notes. And anyways, there was a police standoff at this place, and they had like SWAT here and everything. And this man ended up committing suicide in our bathroom, right?
Yeah, he was in the bathroom.
And
in between, in and out of the bathroom when they found him.
Right. And when I do, I'll do pull-ups on the door by the bathroom, and every now and again I think I see someone standing in that bathroom. And I told Marcus that before I even knew where this guy committed suicide. And it hasn't happened for a long time, but...
Yeah, he kept telling me that. He kept saying, man, every time I'm doing pull-ups, I keep seeing someone standing there, And he'd look, and when he'd look, there'd be nobody there. And
right.
I didn't tell him for a while, but finally I told him, I said, that's exactly where he was standing when he committed suicide, actually.
So we're hearing this male voice, and then that night when she was sitting in there in the dark, we also had this female voice coming through, and the male voice is gone. And just jokingly, because it's kind of funny, this place, we have the cops knock on our door at least once a year. Man. And they'll knock upstairs and downstairs, and they say they hear a woman screaming from this property.
Really? Screaming bloody murder.
Right, it happened the first time when I moved upstairs, and Marcus actually lived downstairs where I am now. And we just got done doing something, and I came home, I went upstairs, and my wife's up there, and they're just like kind of messing around up there, and my kids running around. And Mark gets a knock at the door asking if they're okay, or you guys all right? Is anything happening? And we got a phone call of a woman screaming. And Mark's like, yeah, everything's fine. We just got home. And then he said, my brother lives upstairs. And he said, okay. So
I can usually hear when they're even kind of speaking a little loud. You can hear them upstairs, And I didn't hear anything, absolutely nothing. When the cops came in, they were like, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, nothing going on. And then they're like, well, we better go make sure it's, not upstairs. So they went around and they were talking to him. I even told him, I was like, dude, cops are going to come talk to you. Right. I don't know what the hell's going on.
It's like, I just got home. I was like, we haven't heard nothing. But yeah, every year after that, we get a knock on the door from the cops and asking us if there's a woman screaming. Or if we're okay, are we fighting or something? I was like, no.
Yeah, the neighbors and everything. They're like, we got multiple reports of a woman screaming like she's getting hurt.
Right.
Coming from this building.
And so you guys can't hear it at all, but obviously somebody
outside,
like the neighbors,
right,
outside hears it just as clear as a bell.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
But
That's
what's
amazing.
funny is we were coming up with maybe like a symbol or something for fallen hour, and he drew something that kind of didn't sit right with me, man. Like it just kind of odd. I was like, I don't like the way what this is, I don't like the way this looks. And he was like, well, that's the point, I'm trying to make people kind of feel uneasy by it. And it was just a weird symbol, the way he drew it out. And about, what was it, like 6 months later, maybe a year later,
right,
we were doing he wanted to do an episode on Papa Legba and like hoodoo and stuff like that. And I was doing some research into their like different Lawas and deities and stuff. And there's a woman, Lawa, in that culture, and he literally, the symbol he drew was her exact symbol. And he's never seen it before.
No.
And what's funny is he kind of put that on paintings, and he had the original paper, and he threw it away because he said it even kind of bothered him, He threw it away. But when he had that symbol in his house, we always hear a woman crying upstairs when there's nobody upstairs at all. Yeah. And I go in the bathroom, like the restroom, and I'd be standing in there and I can hear like, my brother or his friend or whoever's upstairs talking. So you can hear pretty clearly, and there was absolutely nobody upstairs, and we'd always hear a woman crying upstairs. And so like, we'd have to call him up and like, hey man, are you home? And he's like, no, nobody's at my house, and he's the only one that lived upstairs at the time. And we literally hear a woman crying up there like pretty loudly. And ever since he took that symbol down, it completely stopped. So like, I don't know if that had something to do with it.
Right.
Because I don't know.
They say that certain symbols will be able to transfer the spirit or part of the spirit of a person, right? And that certain symbols, when you take them from various cultures, that they will transfer some of that energy, and then you'll get the residual. So Parker, one of our previous guides, while we've been doing the tours, when I'm on the tour, and I don't think I told you guys this, C-Dale, when you were on the tour, but with some of the folks on the tours, if they have kids and the parents aren't watching, I'll say, like, make sure they leave stuff alone. Yeah. Don't take any rocks, dirt, nothing home, right? Because you can transfer some of that energy. And this isn't like the Peabody Whiteheads. You don't want any of that stuff going home with you. But Parker must have done something, because one of the ghosts went home with her. And is now home with her, and that was Thomas Patterson of the Croak Patterson Mansion. And so she's like, "Oh, what the hell did I do?" And I'm like, "Well, did you grab something, move something, talk about something?" We did the ghost tours last night. Pretty big crowds, of course. It's the high holy month of October.
Right.
We were supposed to have 70 people, and we wound up with 66. So
wow,
jeez.
Yeah, and they're getting huge. So we had two separate groups, and you didn't meet her. She started after you had left, because because you were there early September, weren't you, C-Dale?
Yep.
Yeah, because you were there for the Rock Gym show. So Sheila Joe is the other guide. So it's Travis, myself, and Sheila Joe. And Sheila Joe. And last night we were outside of the Croak Patterson and talking. And when we split it into two groups, we tried something a little different last night, and it worked well. So we'll be able to split our groups up. Usually we try to go 3 guides, about 20 people each. Well, we decided to keep one big group of about 35 people. And then the other group had about 25, and we had a few cancel. So Sheila and I, we swap off. And she starts at the Capitol. I do the Acacia Hotel. She'll do Molly Brown. I do the Dunning Benedict Cheeseman Mansion. Then she gets to Croak Patterson. So I stand in a different place at Croak Patterson than the rest of my guides, because I just don't mess with that crap at all. And I know it can be very nasty. Well, she went up to the front steps of the Patterson Inn now. It's a boutique hotel. And usually we get a couple of very prominent, where the main door is. there's a dark spot right above it where there's no light. It's very, very dark. And we usually get a couple of orbs right there. And the orbs are not just your standard blue orbs. They look like skulls. You know, they've got the two eyes, and then they've got the nose portion right here. It's creepy as hell.
Right. I've seen some of those when I was down there.
Yeah, I showed you a couple of them.
Right.
Yeah, we got those in July, late July, early August. So it's keeping going. We got them last night. So not only was Sheila Joe standing on it on the front steps going up into the boutique hotel of the mansion, the emergency lights flicked on, flicked off, flicked on, flicked off. And every time she mentioned the word croak, or especially the word Patterson, and she was like, yeah. So I stood back, I took a couple photos, and she is standing like right here, and I'm facing her, and there was an orb to her left sitting right there on the step.
Wow.
Don't show me. So, but yeah, we'd never have that happen before, ever, right? When I do the tours, I've had a great connection for some reason with the Molly Brown house. And so a light would flicker on the big apartment building just to the north. And then the light would always come on for the sign that said Molly Brown House Museum. And then as soon as I would walk away with the tour, it went off. The lights on the would stop flickering, and then the other light would go off.
And Molly Brown's the survivor of the Titanic, right?
Titanic, yeah. So I had that, but I've had orbs outside when people will do videos, and there's an orb that will follow me, but then I leave it, right? It doesn't follow me home. But the Patterson ghost from the Croak Patterson, the Patterson ghost went home with Parker. And now she's not sure how she can get rid of it. I'm like, I'm going to tell her, well, you're going to have to come back and probably just go to the tour or go to the house and say, be gone, find out what it is you mistakenly took and put it back. So coming full circle, yeah, I'm not surprised then with that symbol that you drew. Yeah, you probably got some residual energy somewhere.
Right.
And they decided to visit your house and cry, maybe because they weren't being fed. Who knows?
Right. Which kind of makes me feel bad too, because I've painted that, and I've sold those paintings to people, and
and a notebook.
And I don't know these people either. It's like I put these in a shop in Billings, and I don't know who comes in and buys these things, but people that love kind of creepy stuff, because I paint like a lot of like creepy, dark kind of things, but yeah, they'll come in and buy them, and I don't know who has those, but if they're watching,
yeah.
Well, and they're probably folks who like the paranormal.
Right.
For me, the paranormal's fascinating and interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm a substitute teacher, so last January through May, I taught middle school, and this is when I was in the process of starting to apply. And so we would do ghost videos for, I taught the specials subject. So they couldn't go to art or music, so I would take art and music to them, and just kind of everything and anything. And so I always had the kids fill out 3x5 note cards. What are your likes, dislikes? And I would talk to them about that. Right? I made it real for them so that they weren't just like being, well, this is Ponce de Leon, or this is Columbus, or this is, make it fun. And when we did the ghost stuff, and I would show the pictures, not of the tour because I hadn't started doing the tours yet, but of other places, a lot of the kids were just creeped out. And then there was another group of kids who were like, oh, that's all fake. It's not real. And I'm like, yes, it is. These are not photoshopped, and this isn't stuff you mess around with at all.
Yeah.
Right? So those folks that got the symbols, they're probably, experiencing some stuff, and they're wondering, woohoo!
Right. And this, I'm gonna butcher this whole theory, but it's just popped in my head. But we like to go back to different kind of texts when we try to explain different happenings, whether that's symbolism and why that brings energy, or people experiencing spirits in a different kind of way. Some people see spirits that are full full apparitions, like you can reach out and touch them. Some people see them as energy, some people see them as orbs. But and we try to go back to whether that's like biblical text, Roman text, Greek text, or whatever it is. Yeah. And even jump into Egyptian text. We'll even jump into like voodoo cultures and stuff and try to explain these certain happenings. And for us, we know, for ourselves, we know what that is. Like we can explain that because we grew up in a Christian household. So with our belief system, we can explain that. We have everybody from priests to ministers to people claiming that they're vampires or people who claim to be witches,
Wiccans, Luciferian.
But it kind of
atheists. We have a like wide variety of,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right, but it's kind of made this really cool conversation we've been having with everybody of trying to explain what a spirit is, what a demon is, what's a ghost, and try to explain these different happenings. But the symbolism is what I was trying to get to. Is there's a biblical text, and I think with that symbolism that can explain a lot of the, whether that's having different symbols in your house. And I know that having certain objects in your house, whether that's a Ouija board, can also bring certain things like paranormal activity in your house.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Even certain crystals or stones to
amplify certain
paranormal activity.
Right. There's also different stones because, I mean, I work in a rock shop and I do TV commercials and marketing and stuff for businesses. And I've had this client for about 5 years now, I think. And they're good friends of mine now, but they have a crystal shop. And we get so many people coming in there asking about healing stones and how do you put together stones for chakras? How do you connect your things like that? Yeah. But in the paranormal world, there's theories on different crystals that can magnify activity. Whether that's a quartz crystal, which is a clear crystal, or a garnet, which is like a big one for activity. And we've actually tried using garnet as well. It's kind of funny though, because once I got that garnet, we've started having a lot of stuff happening around that time, and yeah, it's kind of funny.
It got to the point where he stopped leaving his camera on.
Oh right, yeah.
Because his cupboards would open up and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And stuff would come flying out.
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened?
My wife was here. I had to go work, so I was in Billings, and I was doing some production or something up there. And she texted me. She said something just happened, and I was like, "What?" And so I have a motion camera in my kitchen, and it kind of swivels, so it kind of like turns left and right and going like a whole circle.
Yeah.
And it usually records anything and everything, like a shadow, whatever. It'll like go to it and start recording it.
It would even follow a fly.
Right, it'll follow flies and it'll kick on for flies. But she was here with her sister. Her sister was visiting us, and she's from Colorado, or she was staying in Colorado at the time. And all I see on the camera is them running into the kitchen and looking around. And while they're looking around, the cabinets are open, and there's dishes on the floor. And what she said happened was they're sitting in here talking, and they just hear a big crash in the kitchen. And they get up and they go to the kitchen, and the cabinets are open, and there's dishes on the floor.
Yeah. And the camera didn't catch it flying out, didn't it? It caught them going to see what the hell happened.
Right.
It caught them walking in there and seeing everything crashed all over the place. And you barely even take a step in there, that camera's just bam, it's right on you, Like I'll barely move my arm and it turns and it looks at me. Like, I hate that thing. But
get your hand out of the
And so like it's pretty funny that it didn't catch anything, anything but them actually walking up to the cupboard.
Yeah, it was how interesting, because it caught them, but it didn't catch the actual activity that took place.
Right.
Yeah, I could hear everything. Oh, that's so weird.
Which is it's impossible to. It's impossible. Like you can't
sneak past that thing.
You can't sneak past it. But sometimes.
Well, like last night, I had a young boy on the tour. Sheila Joe mistakenly called him a girl because he had a little bit longer hair. But his name was Rand, And a great young kid. He was probably about 10, maybe no more than 10, 9 or 10. And so he was starting to get a little creeped out, especially when we ended the tour right there at the Peabody Whitehead Mansion. And he said, "So, Walt, what do you do? I mean, how do you?" And I said, "Well, depending upon your religion and what you believe in," I said, "for me, every night when I come home, I'm a very strong man of faith and God, and I'm Orthodox Christian, so I'm Russian Orthodox. So I usually do a broadcast that was done in Moscow, outside one of the monasteries, and they chant the entire Psalter of the Psalms of David, 1 to the very last one. It's all in Russian, so it keeps me up to date on my Russian. But I put that on every night, and then I light usually a couple candles. It's over my corner this side. That's my nice pantry shelf right there. But right out of view, which you can't see, right over here, this is where my icon stands are. And I light candles for that. So I told him, I said, "Go home, we'll light 3 candles." And I said, and then just listen to some music for about an hour that's very calming and spiritual. And I said, that'll help you get rid of your creeps. And they were going to let me know. They didn't ever send anything back to me via text. But I was an add-on last night, so I wasn't the principal guide. So I don't know if Sheila got anything back, but yeah, Rand, a young kid, was starting to get freaked out, and it was amazing.
Wow.
And let's see, about 2 weeks after your tour, Cedale, I had a family there, and I thought they're of Mexican heritage, and they were there. And they really didn't say a whole lot until we got to the Dunning Benedict Cheeseman house. Come to find out, the young lady, her name is Erica, she is very clairvoyant, and she's been clairvoyant since she's been about 3 or 4. She sees ghosts.
Wow.
She saw several of the ghosts on the tour in the buildings. Wow. And she's gotten some crazy photos, and she got one. I can't find it. I've been looking for it. Now, I'm going to have to just write her back and say, can you send this to me? And if I do, I've got your number, so I'll send it on to you. From especially the Croak Patterson. But we're outside Dunning Benedict Cheeseman. I'm outside of arm's length, so probably about 4 foot, maybe 4.5 foot away from her. She has a backpack on. She's facing south with her back to the north. And I'm talking to her, and we've got the rest of the tour moving along over to go to the Croak Patterson mansion. Next thing I know, she's pulled. And I'm like, what just happened? And she said, something just pulled me. And she could see a couple of the figures up in the Dunning Benedict Cheeseman mansion. So, and she saw some things along the tour, and she especially saw some stuff at the Peabody Whitehead mansion, which is our most haunted mansion in all of Denver. And she saw that, and she was woo-wee. She was not happy, but she wouldn't touch anything, of course. She took some great photos. And one of the photos we got, I think, from her was at the main door at Peabody Whitehead. Remember how I had showed you a picture? There's 4 panes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
Excuse me. Lovely allergies medicine. I'm going to need to take some soon. Yeah. Hey. Oh, there's that pig sound.
You got to show the people your hat.
Oh, I will. We got a picture. She got the 4 panes, pane 4, the southeastern quadrant. We always get a face in there. And we've got a woman now, Eloise, a young bride who was stood up and killed herself in the building and committed suicide. But this other one was freaky. It took the northeast and southeast panes, and I swear to God, it looks like a little devil. It just does. When you look at it, you can see forked ears, you can see a face, you can see what looks like a body, and if I get a chance, if I find it, I'll send that to you. But oh, that creeped me out. She took that photo, and she swears, but she said that's an evil entity right there. And I'm like, well, I've got no reason to dispute you because I know this place is, and I've been in the basement of the Peabody Whitehead, and it was freaky as hell. And I made my retreat because they had a voice, EVP, and it said, leave, go away, stop bothering us, leave or we'll kill you. Oh, I heard that. I got the hell out.
That's enough for me, huh?
I wasn't going to mess with it anymore. So
You got to show. I don't think you sent that to me, but you have a picture of a man sitting in one of the windows. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
I think that was at that house where Ghost Adventures was, right?
Yes, the Peabody Whitehead. You bet. As we're talking, let me see if I can find it here. There's been some just strange stuff at that house, and no matter what angles you take pictures of, and there's just some creepy stuff that you find. Oh, here it is. I'll be damned. I don't know if it's going to come across very clear. I'll try to hold it up.
Do you want to send it to my phone?
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, you can just put it on there.
Yeah, and I'll put it over the video for people to see. But this is one of the craziest photos I've seen. That's not on the internet yet. It's like not out there yet, right?
No, not at all. We ask everybody to send us stuff, but let me send you. It's going to take me just a second here to copy and paste. Give me a second.
Okay.
I'm going to send you 3 photos. This isn't one with the face. There's a face of a woman that you can see, and I'm pretty sure it's Eloise, the bride. But there's one of another guy, and his left arm is there, and he's just kind of sitting there looking at you. And that was one of the very first photos we took back in end of June, first part of August. I'll try to find that. But this one is, there's 3 of them, and this one, this is the one. I'll be damned. This is the one that Erica sent me. So let me do this. Let me copy.
Yeah, that one of that man sitting in the window with his arm on there. That's the one I want to show Marcus. That one's a crazy one.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look for that as we're doing stuff, and I'll send it to you here shortly. Here is one of. You're going to get the picture of the main door at Peabody Whitehead, and then she stood in a corner so she could blow it up to look at the window to the left of the door. And you'll see a distinct female body and what looks to be a little girl's face down below. And that is on its way to you right now.
We just got some static electricity in here.
Did you?
And he put his phone by it and nothing went off.
Yeah, it's not kicking
it off.
Wow. All right, let me see.
Okay.
It's probably emails.
Okay, I got the picture of the door. Where am I looking?
So look at the window. So see the main door?
Yep.
Look at the window to the left and then blow it up. You tell me that isn't a woman and what looks to be the face, maybe like about here up, of a little girl looking out the window at us.
Is it the...
Whoa.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
That's the body right there.
Wow.
Yeah. See,
That just creeped me out.
this stuff is freaky as hell.
Like I could see
So,
the
now let me
eyes, the
find-
nose. I could see the hair parting this way and coming down. And
It's so wild. It's
Dude,
just so.
That gave me the chills.
That creeped me out the second I saw it. It was like, whoa, man.
We weren't sure where to go. I was like looking at the window on the right.
I was like,
and then-
where? And he just swiped over and it was right on the
Real
screen.
big.
And, oof.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay, I'm going to send you this one. This is Eloise. So I'll make a copy of this one real quick.
Hold your phone back
And
this way, so just in case.
of course,
What is
this
that?
one isn't going to
Hold your
copy.
phone away just in case.
Oh.
Because that was weird, man. This literally just kicked on.
That was weird.
And nothing. Look at that.
So this one is a picture of the face in the southeast quadrant, and this is Eloise. I'm still looking for the one with the guy.
Okay.
So this one is to you. This one is of Eloise. It's a little faint, but when you look at it, tell me if that isn't a female face. looking back at you. It almost looks like the best way I've tried to describe it to somebody is if you look at it and it should be on the way to your phone.
It's here.
It looks like almost like the Jesus face from the Shroud of Turin.
Oh yeah, I know. What
Is
you're
it
talking about.
on the?
No, I could see it. I could see what you're
Where's
talking
that?
about.
Oh, I see it. No, I see it. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, you see it? Yeah, I mean, just wild.
It looks like it has like a.
It's got like what looks to be to me a long nose, right? You
Yeah,
can see
like
the
Right.
forehead,
the bottom
and
of
hair.
the pane is right here, and you can see it just peeking
Yep.
over, like it's peering over.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Now, this is one we got 2 weeks ago. Let me see. I think this is the one. Oh yeah, this one was creepy too. So there's a blue orb. Think of the picture I'm going to send you here shortly. It's split into thirds. There's the main door, and above the main door, there's a window, and the window is never lit. Well, it was for some reason for about a week. You tell me if that isn't a bald head peeking over the window sill, and you can see the eyebrows and the eyes. And I'm going to send that to you right quick like here. This creeped us out because we're like, my goodness, that was creepy. And then there's an orb below it, and unlike the window, not the window sill, but like the window, like the wood framing, right? You'll see the blue orb. So, and this was only, it's off on its way. This, it's a bald guy. It's a bald head looking, just creeping through, looking over the windowsill.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And the blue orb directly below, the window.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
So,
that's weird.
It's so weird.
And this is the most haunted house in all of Denver. Now, here's the funny thing. When Seedale was there, they still have the big fences up all around it because they're trying to refurbish it inside. It's been sitting dormant for like 18, 19 years.
Yeah.
Well, I can't blame them. They should just raise this house to the ground, but they can't. Well, it should be rightly called the Whitehead Peabody because Dr. Whitehead is the one who built it, famous doctor from this American Civil War. And then he helped found, he was brought to Denver to help found Denver General Hospital, which is now Denver Health and Medical. They changed the name, but all of us locals still call it Denver General. Well, he's brought out, and he told all the people that were there who would have to come visit him, he'd have to throw parties, being the lead doctor in the city. He hated him. I think he should have chosen a career. He chose a career as a surgeon, right? So he could be by himself in a surgical room. But he should have chosen a career as a miner because he had all the attributes of a miner. Let's go down, let's dig, just leave me the hell alone, right? Yeah. But he had to throw all the parties, for society. And he would tell a few friends, I brought those ghosts with me. He served as a British field doctor. He was born in 1837. And the Crimean War ended in the middle of 57. So he's 19. He's not even 20 years old, and he's a field doctor, right? He was a gifted young man. Wow. And he knew, then he came back to the upstates in late 1860, moves to Virginia, and the Civil War breaks out, April of 61. So he joins Robert E. Lee's staff as a staff doctor. And then Lee loans him out to General Jackson, Stonewall Jackson. So, but when Dr. Whitehead finally came to Denver and settled and he built a house and everything, he said, I brought the ghosts with me. I brought the ghosts because he felt bad for all of the men that he couldn't save. So he brought those spirits with him from the Crimean battlefield. So the British and French soldiers and a few Ottoman army soldiers. Also a few Russians, because I think he helped try to save some Russians as well. Russian field infantry soldiers. And then he brought several soldiers with him from the U.S. Civil War. There's no report, never been verified, and I don't believe it, that General Thomas Stonewall Jackson's at the Peabody Mansion, because he's at rest and he was back east, right? And so I think his body stayed there. Now, I would assume that, maybe he was there with Whitehead, and Whitehead never really mentioned it, but there's no mention of ever seeing a General Jackson, right? And we know the famous photos of him, right? And there's no one ever sees anything of him. So we're pretty sure about that. So why do I say all this about Whitehead? Well, because Peabody gets the main name, because Peabody became a governor. It's a governor's mansion.
Right.
It's a former governor's mansion. So we can't tear it down because it's on the historic registry. Well, now that it's been sitting dormant about 18, 19 years, they're refurbishing it. Colorado law, at least in the Denver area, the real estate agents don't just have to disclose that the place is haunted. They're making 4 or 5 residential apartments in that building.
Really?
Wow.
Not a chance in hell I would ever live there. Not a chance. And I feel sorry for the folks who will be moving in, because they're going to be having a lot of stories, and they'll probably be in and out like a revolving door. So with that, we had a tour group. This was, I think, one of Sheila Joe's first nights. And they parked way down about 2 blocks south of the mansion and went to dinner at a place called Charlie Brown's. It's a famous little bar and restaurant. They walked back up to the Capitol. As they walked by the Peabody Whitehead, they said, oh, yeah, we saw an old woman in there turning off the lights. We're like, what old woman? Nobody lives there. Who the hell? No. And they said, yeah, there was an old woman, and we saw her walking around. We saw her by the front door, and she was just tootling through, walking by. And I'm like, well, how many other lights were on? A few lights, but there was an old woman who walked right past that door. Didn't look at us or anything, and we all just like, oh, okay. And then we went back to the house on the tour, and they're like, we've already been by here. Let us tell you about what happened. So we're like, wow.
Oh, God.
And, lights are on at times, lights are off, things are on, things are off. And I'm convinced that it's probably the spirits that are turning things on and off, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nobody that's there, nobody's staying there. There's scaffolding in there, right? So they're working on the place. It's worth $2.7 million.
Wow.
I don't think an old woman would be working on a scaffold either. So.
No, exactly. And I'm like, what the hell? Why was she there? And none of us can explain it to this day, right? So there's got to be an older entity there. But if I can find a couple, I can't find the picture, CDL, but I will.
It's creepy, man.
As soon as I do. Yeah, you just see a guy sitting in the window, Marcus. He's just like this, looking out at you.
Yeah, it's weird.
So when I do the tour, because I'm using a lantern now because it's dark, but I bought this French military kepi.
That's awesome.
So I put it on. That way people can find me.
Yeah.
And we have such a horrible homeless problem in Denver. I usually carry an umbrella. That way I can kind of keep them at arms plus length and say, go away. But I had to do that because it's getting real cold and they're going to other areas to stay warm. So, yeah, I wear this hat on purpose to make sure that
identifiable.
Identifiable.
It's an awesome hat. So, before we start ending the podcast here, we ask all of our guests on the podcast of what do you believe a spirit is? Like, what do you believe? What do you believe people are experiencing out there when they're being haunted?
Yeah, we explain it on our tour for kids who ask, especially, that poltergeists, ghosts are entities that Molly Brown house. The Molly Brown house, everybody is back. Margaret Molly Brown, her husband JJ, her daughter that died, Catherine, the butler John. They're all there, plus Rhonda, I believe is her name, of Margaret's mother. They're back. They're spirits, ghostly spirits, but they're pleasant, and they had their house refurbished. So, as the saying goes, spirits will return to a place that they felt loved, comfortable, enjoyed being there. And with all of the upgrades and stuff that they've done to the Molly Brown House Museum, they've refurbished it. It's like almost $12 million worth of upkeep, right? It's a beautiful home. So I recommend if you come to Denver, tour the museum. I did a virtual one last year because of COVID, and I haven't been in the house for like 16, 17 years. So it's time to go back on a tour. But they're all there because they are happy. They're pleasant with the place. Then there are poltergeists, and there are two types predominantly. There's friendly ones who just like to mess about with you, right? They'll pull a chair out, they'll rearrange artwork because they're not happy that you put a Van Gogh over by a Renoir or whatever it is, right? They're like, stop them, right? So they're okay. They're not malevolent, but there are the malevolent poltergeists, and those definitely exist in the Peabody Whitehead, and they definitely exist in the Croke-Patterson because of the nasty past history. And they're out to do damage to you, right? They're there to threaten you, to hurt you. Young women in the Peabody Whitehead Mansion, when it was a Mexican restaurant, Senor Peabody's with a ghostly theme. Can't you just imagine eating tamales or a burrito and then seeing a little ghost thing there? But the waitresses, if they were very young and cute, as many of the waitresses are, right, and they're flirtatious because they want good tips, right? I mean, the tips are important to their livelihood. But they would go from restaurant through the breezeway back to the kitchen. They deliver their order. And when they came back through the breezeway, many of them have said the same thing. They were punched, hit, not bit, but they were scratched. And they're like, so whatever entity was in there didn't like them flirting or doing things. And we've heard the same thing about stuff at the Croke-Patterson and families, just having strange things happen to them. But yeah, poltergeists at the Croke-Patterson, they say, if you're going to stay there, hell, it's a boutique hotel now. I might as well go buy a plate, $1, go to the dollar store, buy about 10 plates and put them outside the door and say, throw them at your heart's content, because they do throw plates, knives, forks, spoons, pots, pans. They'll flip over tables, chairs. I mean, they throw them across the room.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's very interesting to see what you run across, right? The Molly Brown House, to me, is just probably one of the more low-key ones, right? And but Croke-Patterson, the Peabody Whitehead, and the Acacia Apartments are... The Acacia apartment, they're apartment buildings, right? It used to be an old hotel. You'd think, no. There's some creepy stuff. And I showed you the photo, right?
Is that the one where they put the carpet up and the body?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll send that one to you, too. Yeah. You can show Marcus. Yeah, I mean, a young lady, right? Trying to scrub out a spot on hardwood floors. And she moved in 2.5 years ago. Marcus, she couldn't rub it out. Like, okay. She went to Walmart, bought one of those great big rugs, right? Yeah. Throw rugs you put down. So she did. Well, she moved out the second week of July this year. Oh. And when she moved out, she had the door open. It was propped open to her apartment. And people were coming in saying goodbye. We're going to miss you. Best of luck. Yeah. She was rolling up the carpet. And when she rolled up the carpet, I got this photo, and the person screamed. Her name is Michaela, and I only know that because of the photo. She screamed. She went, oh my fucking God, you got to get in here and see this. This is creepy as shit. And as we're talking, I'll see if I can send this to you quick. Copy and CDL. It's on its way to you right now. And I'm gonna push send here shortly. This is not photoshopped at all, Marcus. This is the photo she took. I'll leave it at that. It's on its way, CDL.
Oh wow.
That's what she saw on the floor. No wonder she let out a scream. Right? She said that little spot, and she didn't specify. It was a little spot, no bigger than about my hand, and she couldn't scrub it out, so she put it down. And when she rolled the carpet up, that's what she found.
Wow.
She just freaked out. I can't blame her. Crazy.
The hell would have
crazy.
you have done if he's freaking saw that in your carpet?
A body shaped
Right.
stain on my floor. Like, who died here is what I would be thinking, you know?
And we've done a little bit of research. You know, the hotel, it was built in 1909 with some refurbishments, and it finishes as a hotel in about 1923, 24 because of the legislator tale. Remember that I told? Right. Yeah, mistress, and she killed herself in the room, and that room is still occupied to this day with a guest, right, a renter, and they became apartments in the mid-late 20s after the refurbishment, and they've been apartments ever since. So we figured that it must have been, this was up on the third floor, kind of in what would I guess would be the northwest corner, just on the north side of the building. And we think it was an old guy that nobody really paid any attention to, didn't notice if he wasn't around. He must have been a recluse, and he must have dropped dead, and that's the result.
Wow. Wow. Is that the building where the dog jumped out of the window?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you tell Marcus?
Same building.
Tell Marcus that story.
Oh, so same week in July this year. This happened this year in July, second week. Young woman, she still lives there. So when I give the tour, I have the tour come in closer because I say out of respect, I don't want to, get her upset or anything. But I said, young woman had a German Shepherd. She went for a walk early in the morning. And then it's an old building, right? So the windows are hard to move. But she came back after walking the dog, took care of it. I don't remember if it's male or female. And locked it in. Had the windows all down. She swears to God. And that's what she says. I swear to God, I opened no windows. Okay. But I turned the air conditioning on. So she turned on the air conditioning. Now it's in a big U shape.
Yeah.
So this is north. Okay. North is here. This is south. This is the courtyard. And her room is right here in the southwest third floor corner. Okay. To kind of set it. So she closed all the windows. She didn't have a dog walker that was supposed to come and walk the dog or anything. Everything was good to go. Windows were down, closed. Some of the residents called her and said, "You got to get home now. Got to come home." Well, I can't come. I'm working, right? You need to come home now. She says, "I can't. I'm working. I can't get away." To hell with it. You need to be here now. Move your ass. Get home. So I guess the story was kind of like she thought, maybe the apartment caught on fire or something like that, right? She gets home, and I stop just to the west of the apartments out of respect now because of a big brouhaha, or I wouldn't have got these other stories and photos because of a militant little asshole who lived there. And I went to see the manager the next day, and then I saw 3 or 4 of the residents. Hence, I got the stories. So she gets just to about where the alleyway would be, getting close, and she stops and she breaks down. And rightly so. There's the police there, and also the animal control officer, as I understand. Whatever it was, they can't rule out paranormal activity, and I think it was probably some paranormal activity, but a window was open, and it was the window that was facing into the courtyard, and for whatever reason, the German Shepherd jumped out and fell onto the fence, and the fence is spiked.
Oh, wow.
And it was killed instantly.
Wow.
And, it just creepy. And there's stuff you would think, hotel, right? Nothing. But to me, that's my favorite, outside of the Peabody Whitehead, the Acacia Hotel is my favorite place because there's more and more creepy little stories that come in that everyone is starting to tell. And it just adds to the tour and to all of the fun of the ghost tours.
Wow, that's wicked, man. How far away is the fence from the window? Like lengthwise?
Oh, probably a good, the dog would have jumped out and straight down. So you're talking about a 15, 20-foot drop.
So 15, 20-foot drop down, and from the wall to the fence, what's the distance there?
Yeah, it's an old wrought iron fence. Mm-hmm. So if I were to stand up, the fence is, and I'm shrinking as I get older. So I'm about almost 5'9". I'm like 5'8" now, but it's taller than me. So it's a 6-foot wrought iron fence, and the spikes, it's attached into the brick. Jeez. On both sides.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
A beautiful gate. Yeah, it's a big fence.
Jeez.
And it jumped down with enough force that it impaled itself and killed itself instantly.
That's just insane.
Right.
Like, oh my God.
It's almost like if it was to be like a poltergeist, it would have had to open the window and then probably like check the dog out.
I'm trying to like literally think like how this like everything it had to go through to get this window open and get the dog out far enough to land on that damn fence.
Right.
That's creepy.
And we talked about this. Did it chase the dog out? The dog was trying to get away, so the dog saw an opening, and it forcibly opened the window. Now again, these are old windows, right? So they don't open very easily.
Right. Yeah.
And, but the window was all the way open. And again, she, Michaela, is the other gal, but this gal, don't know her name, but she said, I swear to God that I closed all the windows so the air conditioning could run. And it was a very hot July.
You wouldn't think like that. I mean, a dog has enough sense to not jump out a freaking window that high up. I mean, most of them actually analyze before even attempting to jump out of I've never had a dog jump out of a window when I've lived on a ground story apartment or home. I've never had. I mean, my dog won't even jump out of the back of a car. So like,
and you make a great point. So that's why paranormal activity can't be ruled out, because if it picked the dog up, or if the dog was frightened. Another story with dogs, the Croak Patterson, they couldn't keep security guards in there when they were refurbishing and building 6 new apartments. Right. So they put in 2 Doberman pinchers. Well, if you were to look at the Croak Patterson, and it's built in a French chateau style. Chateau in French means castle. So there's a tall turret in what would be the northeast corner. And when they were refurbishing it, there was no glass up in there, but there was a window there, right? And you could see the frame. But 2 Doberman pincers were found the next morning dead at the base of those towers. And then there was a third dog put in the next night or the night after. And it was found, it was either the first or the basement, first floor or basement. They're not sure which. They don't remember. But the dog, it was like if it was curled up real tight in a ball. And it was, like protecting itself. And it was barely alive. And it died at the vet within an hour of getting there. It died. So whatever it was, either was trying to hit it or scare it. So my theory is something either chased that dog and chased it out the window on purpose, or it picked it up and threw it out.
That's what I was about to say. Was like I was thinking about it, and I was thinking perhaps it opened this window up, purposely opened this window up, and then scared this dog so bad that its only way out was the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to get out of this building was just to jump through that window, and ended up.
I wonder if anybody
dying.
else has problems with pets there. Like if
at the apartments, not that I'm aware of, but I've seen only a few dogs. At Croak Patterson, yes. Other dogs have gotten sick there. Some cats have died there as well. Very healthy cats, right? No problem, but they were found dead, right? And cats have an innate sense. So my cat is right behind my laptop, sleeping by a lamp, right? But I'll tell you, there's some nights that she'll come and sleep with me in the bedroom, and my bedroom is just around the corner over here. Yeah. And she'll rear up and look, and I'm like, well, lovely. How do you see that I can't?
Yeah, like they can sense, like you can. They can sense things,
right?
Man.
I used to. I have a little baby Chihuahua. Like she's small, and she always sleeps at the edge of her bed. And at this time, she could see clearly right out her window, always facing this wall. But we had this painting that's on the opposite wall, on that wall, and she would never bark or nothing if there was nothing happening. Like if there was someone comes to our gate, or if she hears a car pull up, she'll start barking. But when we got that painting, every now and again she would start growling at our doorway, and she could see clearly that painting. It's always that painting or that corner. It's just a weird thing that
because that used to sit in that corner,
right? Yeah,
and I remember he was telling me about it, and while he was telling me about it, his dog jumped up on the couch and started growling and barking at the painting.
Yeah.
So I was like, I seen it. I mean, it's just strange. Like nothing. I mean, he has all of these paintings, art, all kinds of stuff hanging in this house, and for some reason, this one painting, it does not like it, and it's just a landscape, is what it is. It's just a landscape painting. So it's just strange to me.
My one of our grandfathers bought. One of our grandmothers, she passed away this past year, this painting, but he doesn't know who painted it. He doesn't know
anything
about it. And yeah, when she passed away, I wanted that painting because we talked about it a lot. Like I'd go visit her in a nursing home, and we would talk about that painting a lot. And then I finally got it, and then stuff like that started happening. It's like, wow, that's kind of weird. But I don't know who painted it.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, there's got to be something in the painting, or maybe a symbol somewhere in the painting that is there that is unbeknownst.
Maybe something written on the back of it.
Right.
Yeah,
and it looks
it's
really
framed.
old too. It's kind of beat up, the framing on it. It's actually
like
a pretty
really,
big painting.
really old rustic looking frame, and that thing is like so big.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
If you're not at the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, you're not welcome here.
In the middle of the night, ghosts try to talk to me.
It's interdimensional. So we are living in a multi-dimensional environment.
He's bending down, doing something. He says he sees a shadow. He turns around and there's nobody there.
The power of Christ compels you. I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died.
I went blind then. I had an hemorrhage and I fell asleep and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs.
How come we kill you, Bill?
By the way, God